Hello, welcome to Trek and Beyond, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Anika.
And I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 5 of season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, Mirrors. And this episode is all about Michael and Burnham going into a extra-dimensional pocket of space where they get a little bit of history of Book being Book and making dumb decisions, Moll and L'Ak's love story. I'm a fan. And the Discovery crew is learning from each other and taking important things from each other and learning. And I love that. I love that.
It was okay. It got better after additional watches, but I'm not as excited about this episode as the last episode and the overall series. I felt like this was like the misadventures of two power couples at odds with each other. And they had to duke it out to figure out who's going to survive. There's a lot of questions that I have about like where's Detmer, Joanne, Jet, details that were missing here. But overall, it was okay. It just wasn't my favorite.
I liked this episode. I liked it purely for Moll and L'Ak. Like, they were my saving grace in this episode. Because, one, Michael, your first hand was correct. You should not have been the one to leave the ship. Like, that was dumb. That was dumb. He should have been the one to get off the ship and go. And Michael, sometimes as captain, you have to, know how to delegate. Just because you don't want to risk someone else's life doesn't mean you do the dumb thing and putting the captain's life at risk on this, on a mission. Like, it should have been someone else. One. Two, Book, she does not know who you are. And people need to understand that just because you had a good relationship with someone's parent does not mean they care. Does not mean the child had a good relationship with that parent. And Book, you had this, you had her father every day. So you know what that meant? She didn't have her father. So why would you think that's a bonding moment? Your father was a great man. Her father abandoned her, apparently for you. So why would you think that's a building point? And the moment she said it, stop using the fact that you got her father to be a father figure to you when she never had him because of you as a reason why she should give a crap about you. Book, she doesn't know you. She doesn't care about you. Stop grasping at straws for someone who is not even remotely related to you. She's not your family. And then we get the love story of Moll and L'Ak. And I, gotta fan myself, love a villain. Because a villain will watch the world burn to save you. And that is what we all want. We want someone who will burn, scorch the earth to save me, not sacrifice me for the world. And I believe Book and Michael will sacrifice each other for the world. Moll and L'Ak will burn the world for each other. And that is what I want out of love, people. That is what I want. That is where my loyalties lie.
The ultimate sacrifice.
I want to live. Save me. Save me. So those are my initial thoughts of this episode. But let's go ahead into the deep dive of it, because it's a lot of little, even though that's the initial thoughts, there are a lot of little things in between that we need. And finally, also, I didn't mention this in the opening, but someone's finally getting therapy because they need therapy. So it starts with Book and his personal log reflecting about his mentor, again, that he got to have every day at the expense of the dude's daughter not having her father. That sort of started me on a bad note, honestly. When he said she's the only family I have left, it's like, no, she's not. At all. And I just couldn't get past that part. Just in that one opening line. What did you think? Am I dead inside alone? Or are you dead with me?
No, I wasn't a big fan of it. What I think it was trying to do is set the tone that Book is still grieving for the loss of his people and the planet. And I thought we got over that last season, but it's still there, deep rooted in him. He's having a hard time letting go. And he's trying to seek out family relationships that haven't really been built on no foundation yet. It's really... But just realize it's just you and Grudge right now, and you have to mend other relationships, like with Michael, and develop new friends. But sorry, the people that maybe you're fascinated with may not have those same feelings back.
And the thing that people need to understand is that your experience, while great and amazing, it could have been with someone, does not necessarily mean it was someone else's experience. And you have to respect that. And Book is not, in this entire episode, I don't feel like he respected the fact that she did not like her father. I really don't. I felt like he and his, like, we're making the same season 4 mistakes again, Book. You're just thinking and you're going crazy because you're desperate for a connection that's not there, and you're doing dumb things. Book was not my favorite in this episode. Every time he almost opened his mouth, I was just like, please stop talking. You're ruining it for me.
No, not throughout the episode, but
pretty much. Every time he tried to connect with Moll, it was just like, you are not trying to meet her where she is. You are trying to get her to come to you. You're trying to get her to be on, like, to love Cleveland the way you loved him. Right. And she's like, my father left me, and because he left me, my mom went to work in a mine that was very dangerous, and she died. We are not the same. We do not have the same feelings of comfort for a man. And Book is like refusing to accept that. I'm just like, I want to strangle you.
Well, and this is the reason why I was surprised when Michael, in this opening scene, stated that she's going to go into the wormhole and take Book with her. And Book looked surprised too.
Like, Rayner, I love that man. Y'all know how I feel about Rayner. I feel like he is a great no-nonsense leader. Love him. He, like, and I will admit, sometimes he does come off as very abrasive, but this time he was like, right. Yeah. You should not have been the one, Michael, to go in. It should have been him or someone else or other people who are not, like, emotionally connected to these people.
Yeah. And it should have been really a team of 6. Like, you need security to go into this mysterious place where Moll and L'Ak have been like 6 steps ahead of Starfleet this whole time anyway. They always outwit, so you need more people to help you with this besides the 2 of you. But I have to say, and I admit when I'm wrong, Rayner has had redeeming qualities for me in this episode. He's come around. Showed a lot of teamwork. We'll talk about that coming up. But I forgot to mention that in the opening, that Rayner's come a long way.
I won't necessarily say you were wrong. It's just what he was giving earlier just didn't match your vibe. Yeah. So it's not necessarily, like, I wouldn't say you were wrong. I would say you're given more information.
I'll take that.
So off the limited information that you had about him, we all know if you worked with someone like him, they would not be your friend. It'd be like, oh, okay, dude, go do your job. But when they get into the wormhole, we see that they see Terran, like, technology, or and they see the Terran Enterprise. And I'm gonna be super honest, I had like a little smidge of hope that we would see some Terran folks this episode. Yeah. A little glimpse of Giorgio, maybe a photo or something that was showcased. We did get that near the end, but we got to hear a little bit of history about some of the Enterprise people who were on that Enterprise ship. But it would have been nice to see someone from the Terran universe, maybe a Terran Spock, because we didn't get to meet him if he's alive in this universe, because Vulcans aren't really liked in this universe. Neither here nor there. The ship is like empty. No one is there. I almost forgot that Spock was her brother until she said, my brother sat there. And I was like, are you got a brother? Oh, yeah, Spock. But the ship is like completely empty. And they are just like walking around, chilling, lollygagging, skipping through the halls. And I'm just like, this is why you need more people, because you can cover ground faster. But they see that there's like blankets and there's like people, you can tell where people were just sort of camping out in certain areas. But like everything that could have been used to get people off the ship was gone. So it turns out that the Enterprise was a part of a rebel alliance that Terran Saru led. He was like their rebel leader, and that was like their home base where a lot of refugees were living on, trying to escape, and they went through the little interdimensional pocket of space trying to get to the Prime universe to survive and live. And spoiler alert for the end, apparently they did make it out, which is great. I wonder if we get to see a Terran Saru again. I mean, yeah, I wonder if Terran Saru meets Prime Saru. I wonder what would happen.
And this makes me think that maybe they're trying to set up a connection with a future movie with the Section 30, or regarding Section 31. I know that Michelle Yeoh has been cast for that, because it seems a little interesting that in the middle of the season, they're introducing new characters and new opportunities. Like this kind of throws me off because I'm like, oh, this could go into many other directions, just with just a few of the little points of information that they dropped in here.
Yeah, I want to meet these people. I want to meet everyone who's on the Enterprise ship, trying to come over. I want to see their story. I think that in itself is like a whole show of just like following different people. It could be like a little mini series where they follow different people as they try to acclimate to the Prime world with their knowledge of the Terran world and see who like wants to go back, who wants to stay. I think that would be just as great in itself.
Yes, especially this Dr. Cho, who seemed to be able to travel back and forth at least twice, right? And so, but then also they erased their history. So this is also intriguing.
It's like to make sure no one could follow them, they erased everything about them, which is like means people who want to help you don't know anything, but also people who don't want to help you can't track you.
Like yes, and that also reminds me similar to Discovery and Trekkie. Like they had to their path forward even further into the future was erased. So they had to pretend like their characters died, but it seemed like something similar, and I'm wondering how this is all connected. Plot thickens. Oh my goodness.
As they find where Moll and L'Ak are in sickbay, there are like hollow clones of them in there, and they're trying to like they have the little battle, duke it out. They shoot the hollow thing. Also, almost seems like it really did seem like they were shooting at Moll and L'Ak because like, we were aiming for the hollow thing, and they're just like, "Well, you have really bad aim." Just say you were defending yourself while trying to destroy the hollow thing. I think that's a great answer. And Book does what Book does the worst, tries to reason with Moll, which why would she want to listen to you at all? Again, she does not have the same experience with her father that you did. You're wasting breath. You're wasting time. And then they get stuck in a like bubble thingy, and Book and Moll have to work together to get them out, which I was like, that's so forced. Like that part was so forced. What did you think about them getting stuck and having to work together to escape?
Yeah, it's the splitting up of the couples because L'Ak and Michael were then had to like fight it out, and who has the treasure, the next clue, and then also, as you stated, Moll and Book had to really talk, but did they really hash this out? No, because Moll is not at the point yet where she wants to talk about this. Right now, the only thing she wants to do is save the love of her life. So talk to the handbook. She's not interested in reminiscing about her father or any of that. He wasn't there for her then. He's not there for her now.
Like, read the mother freaking room.
Yes.
And I know I sound like Book because I'm beating a dead horse. But like, dude, you are so smart. I thought you were an emotionally smart person, and now you're just proving to me you're dumb like the rest of them. You are a smart person, but a dumb, emotional person. And they also lost their shadow in all of this somehow, which I thought was very weird.
Yeah,
and also forced.
But to the point in which Moll got so frustrated and so anxious that she was like, I just need to fix this. And so she just started like pulling wires and touching buttons. And then the whole thing just went haywire. You have to realize, Book, also, this is a fragile situation. You're in negotiations. And, in this case, it triggered her to like panic and not think things through.
How Moll sort of let her emotions get a little out of whack when she was having a verbal spar with Book and Michael, and she let something slip about what they're running from, and it lets Michael know that L'Ak is Breen. Now, I while I am a huge Star Trek fan, And I'm talking, but I feel like every time I've seen a Breen, I've never seen their face. And so even though in the last episode we learned that the Breens were the one who attacked, I did not realize L'Ak was a Breen because we never saw the face. I knew they were green. They always had that green like light thingy there. But L'Ak didn't really look green. It just, I thought, okay, they sold it to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder just happened to be Breen. But to find out that he is actually Breen was like, oh, that's what y'all look like. Interesting. And it sort of lets them know the reason Moll and L'Ak are trying so hard to get this prize, something that will take the bounty off of them. A Breen blood bounty is basically like, look, just go ahead and off yourself because they never want to stop. And we get some flashbacks to their love story and their history. And we see that that Moll was always a courier. And that, but she was always a little underhanded too. And it's always snarky, always like, just going for the jugular sometime. And then we see that her and L'Ak have a little fight, tete-a-tete, a little just foreplay, if I do say so myself. That's what that was. But don't look at me like that, Monica. That's what that was. All y'all know, that's what that was. That was their little foreplay. And Moll, like, is very attracted to L'Ak without ever having seen his face, basically. And he keeps saying, next week, I'll show you, next week, next time. And she keeps saying, you always say that, but you never do. And it's almost, and you see that, like, L'Ak has this war in himself about, like, being Breen and, like, being almost like the liquid version of himself, and then letting it harden to be, like, Breens have two faces. And apparently they only accept the version that is, like, liquidy. They don't accept the version that L'Ak is portraying while he's, like, out without the helmet. So it's very interesting that he was able to that Moll was able to like connect to him in a way that's very much understanding, but like loving of him. Like she loves that man. And before she even saw his face, she loved that man. And the reason I'm saying is foreplay, because when her hand was grabbing that buckle, no. We all know what she was trying to grab for. I'm gonna keep it PG-13. But we all know what she was trying to grab for. But I really did love their little love story. And then even when they were about to get captured and he was supposed to kill her basically to regain his honor, he straight up just killed, or at least shot the other Breens to let her go. And he was willing to stay and be like killed and tortured and destroyed to give her time to get away. And she was like, no, come with me. And like they left, like they literally have a bounty on their head for being in love and escaping together. I thought granted, yes, he did kill people, but I thought like they were going to have this bounty on them because they stole from them, that they did all these things, like huge things. That's literally because he did not want to kill her, and he killed two other people because he didn't kill the last one because it raised them. What did you think of their like love story?
So at first I thought she was just flirting with him to get her like hustle because she was like taking some money off the top. But then when she said, oh, you have seen more of me than other people have seen, or something like that, I was like, oh, okay. So their relationship went to another level that we didn't see over time, and that she feels comfortable with him in this other relationship. Not quite sure how that transpired and when, but that happened. It seemed like also he may have been giving her some additional access to the materials that they're trading, maybe like hooking her up a little bit more because she's saving money so that she can retire in a safe place, so that she can escape to some place and not have to worry about any of these stresses that she's dreamed of. Basically her version of it, like a Caribbean island out away. And so he offered to help once she shared with him that like she's going to the Emerald Chain to make more money. But it wasn't enough for her. She still at that point was on this mission to escape this whole lifestyle. That's when their relationship, I think, crunched to a deeper level, and they had that frank conversation of where does our relationship go from here. And so he was like, "I'm willing to sacrifice and go with you." Uh, but you could tell that he was struggling with that, which I think it's tough for an actor to show that emotion behind the mask, behind that
Layers of makeup,
right? Both in liquid form as well as in that other green mass. So I was feeling that for sure, that like, oh, they have a commitment to each other. They haven't just worked out the details, but they want this lasting bond. And he made a big sacrifice because he's royalty, to sacrifice his lineage with the Breen and his power. And really, there's no turning back at this point, especially after he shot his uncle. Oh. You have to just keep going at that point. And obviously, they were able to escape and stayed on the run for a while. But we see a bigger bad. We see more about the Breen and how ruthless they also can be about, I guess, keeping their bloodline pure to Breen, not allowing outsiders in. This whole, we got basically more cultural context there.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see, even though we only saw maybe like a total of 10 different Breens. It was very interesting to see the dynamic of them, because normally we only see them when like they're attacking. I don't really remember, I could be completely wrong, but I don't really remember having conversations with them. I remember just fight. The Breen are attacking. Fight. So it's very interesting to see like the family relations between someone, and understanding, like, even his uncle was like, you know what you're doing, like, almost like, stop, and maybe I could, like, if you shoot me, there's no going back. And I thought it was very interesting that he only said that like after like right before he shot the uncle. Like the uncle, after L'Ak shot the other two guards and turned the weapon onto the uncle was like, basically, if you shoot me, that's the blood bounty, not killing the other two, but if you shoot me, you know what you're doing. So it was like almost the uncle was like, I can save you if you don't shoot me. But if you shoot me, there's nothing I can do. Like, we can say that she shot the other two Breen. Almost like, I feel like there was like an unsaid conversation between the two of them. Like, look, I can make this go away. And he's like, I know. And they still shoot them. I was like, oh, you love that girl.
Right. And it also reminds me that L'Ak was really in like probation. I think when he first met Moll, they were someone placed him on these minor duties of surveillance because there's a disagreement with his uncle, or maybe to make him stronger, because he does seem like he's a weak fighter. Moll was able to take him down and get out the handcuffs and quite easily. And then also in the earlier scene that we discussed with Michael and their battle in that force field in the health wing of the Enterprise, he was stabbed. So he's not much of a fighter, but seems like a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a lover, not a fighter, and he just wants to level Moll. It's so cute. It's so cute. Apparently I have a type. Okay. Okay, so we see that when Michael and L'Ak are fighting, he gets injured, and she's like, it's an accident. We need to get him the Discovery. I'm like, what Michael, in what world would they ever willingly join? Like, they have literally never said anything about willingly wanting to join you guys. Why can't you understand that? Like, what, like, we need to get, like, he would rather die than go to Discovery. He would, like, they have said it so many times. So what that he's injured? So what that he's, like, he could be dying? He would rather die than be a prisoner to you. He wants to be free with this girl. I just felt like they were like, I can't understand why you would not want to be a part of us. I cannot understand why you, and I'm just like, guys, of how, like, Rayner would have connected better with these people than you guys would have. Like, you're just not, they just don't want to get down to their level to understand what they're going through. And it's like, they're just like, we have this glorious world. Starfleet's amazing. Join us. We'll protect you. And it's like, they refuse to accept that people may not want to see it the way that they do. And I just, this episode was full of just like, come on, guys. Come on. You know that's not going to reach them the way you think it is.
Remember the fact that in the last episode, a projection of the future shows the Breen, like, annihilating the Federation. Like, just taking over and killing everyone. So proceed with all caution. If you bring him on board, how is this all? You have to then realize, oh, he's a fugitive on the run. We need to capture or kill him or do something, but just be more cautious now because you're making this connection with this precious view of the future that you have seen that you can't talk about with Book, but you know the potential path that you're leading down.
And one thing that they don't understand, like, one thing I don't think Michael truly gets and understands is that Moll and L'Ak only care about each other. And so they have nothing to lose but the other person. Like, they have nothing. Her mom is dead. She does not care about her dad. She does not have anyone else in this universe that she cares about except this one man. This one man has nothing. No one else but this one woman. You cannot reach them by trying to get to their better humanity. They do not care what happens to the world. They only care what happens to the other person. So stop trying to reach them as humans. Stop trying to reach them as like stop trying to find like their humanity. They don't have any because they know nothing's going to stop the Breen from coming after them except giving them something more.
All the more reason not to leave the two of them in the sick bay while Book and Michael goes to the bridge.
They trust a little too easily. They think, like, it does not make any sense to me. Like, you don't trust new Starfleet people, but you will give the benefit of the doubt to, like, random, like, strangers because you think you're giving them the better option. And then, that part made no sense to me. I'm like, all right, well, they're gone. Why would they stay?
Yeah. So let's talk about that part for a little bit. So Moll and L'Ak found another shuttle, but I thought all of the shuttles on the ISS Enterprise were destroyed, and then also Book and Michael's ship was their shuttle from Discovery was destroyed.
So I don't think it was a shuttle. So when they are getting out, when they get pulled out of the wormhole, and it's because Michael was able to like reach Rayner using like a cultural thing for him. Which we're going to talk about that conversation with him and Enterprise people in a second because that was hilarious. It was targets were being locked on Discovery. I think what they did was they quickly, I don't know how they were able to do it so quickly, retrofitted a torpedo and they got inside of that and launched. So that's like, it was a weapon. Because in the episode, they said targets were locked. Like you're like, you have locked your torpedoes on us. Like we see, but we have no control over it. And the thing that got ejected was Moll and L'Ak. So it wasn't a shuttle, but it was like it wasn't something that was supposed to be made as a shuttle. It was something that was used as like a weapon, and they like quickly retrofitted it. That's what I thought, because otherwise, why would weapons be locked? And then the torpedo that got fired, and it was life forms inside of it. So it wasn't like it wasn't an extra shuttle. It was like a Hail Mary. Like, hey, you can fit inside these torpedoes. They have some life support. We can get out. Again, I just feel like it was lazy writing because it made no sense.
Oh, the only way I could justify was that like maybe the Terrian group had a secret shuttle that was like, because they're always working on like secret plans or something like that. But wow, so they quickly retrofitted that.
Yeah. But to get the Discovery crew out of the wormhole, Rayner understands the message that Michael sends to like, hey, we're doing it now. And so the Discovery crew has this way of when they're trying to get to the point, they explain the entire process. And sometimes it's like get to the point. And Rayner did that earlier in the episode when he was trying to explain something. He's like, in one sentence, explain it. And then the person said one sentence, like, all right, not enough words. Okay, just keep going. And it's like sometimes if you can get straight to the point, get straight to the point. Because I know people in real life who are just like, I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. What's the point of this? Like, do I need to know all of this information to understand the final line? Or can you just say it's going to work because of X, Y, and Z? And so the Discovery crew, I'm not going to lie, that has annoyed me in the past. Where it's just like, oh, what if we do all of this and I'm going to do this? It takes you to this point. It takes you to this point. It's big science words. Final point is, if I press this button, we got it. All I need to know is if we press this button, we got it. If you know the science is going to work behind it, I don't care. I don't need to know it. Just say that we're going to press this button and it's going to work. And so Rayner is like, get to the point. And then he's like, all right, fine, more words. But then at the very end, when they're like going through and they're doing like the little hive mind of like, oh, we could do this or we could do that, which then is sort of needed because then you're all playing back and forth like ways that it could work. And she's like, if I could do a hexagon pattern. And Rayner's like, wait, why a hexagon pattern? And she's like, doesn't matter. We're going to get to the point. And I thought that was just so adorable because he understood. She flipped his own words back onto him. But he didn't like, while it's curious why a hexagon pattern. Did he need to know, or did he just need to know that the hexagon pattern was going to work? All he needed to know was the hexagon pattern was going to work. I don't need to know why the hexagon pattern worked. I just need to know that it worked at this moment, and then break it down for me afterward. So I just liked how he learned from them and they learned from him in this episode, which I thought was adorable.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you need the details. Sometimes you just need a big picture, right? Mm-hmm. It's about understanding your audience and the timing. How much time do you have to really explain this or not?
Yeah.
It also helps the writers kind of move things along without getting into the weeds. So it kind of allows for like a little easier writing when you don't have to explain and you don't know exactly how to explain whatever's the science is behind the scenes.
Yeah. But there's also a quick talk about like Hugh and
Tilly.
They're having a little conversation, which I also thought that was forced when like she goes into sick bay and is like trying to open up something, and then like I don't know, I feel like the emotions in this episode were really forced, and I understand Hugh's like, okay, we're like, I died and I came back and all these things. And like, now we're trying to find this device that could like bring back all life, or like it created life, or could destroy it. It just seemed like it was very forced.
Because we have gone down this route also with Hugh after he died and then he returned and he wanted to talk and didn't want to talk, and so so it's a little tough. Also, they're in a big time crunch, so the timing just wasn't right, and that's what Tilly was trying to express. But yes, Hugh volunteered to take on this other temporary being, so dude, you volunteered for this mission. So now you just have to embrace the fact that you've gone through this additional like journey, and it's hard to talk about. But I'm hoping there'll be other outlets for him.
Yeah, like he definitely needs a real therapist, a licensed legal therapist. But I just didn't feel, it felt so forced in this episode, because I don't feel like this episode would have missed anything if he didn't have that conversation. Like nothing would have changed if that conversation didn't happen. And it just seemed like it was there to like give him an emotional moment. And I just didn't see the point of it in this episode. So
I feel like in quite a few of these Discovery episodes this season, there's ending scenes that's taking place in the lounge. Where there's reflection.
Sip. Shot 4.
But like Linus was playing the piano, and I was like, really, we've never seen that before. And now he's really casual and show tunes. I don't know, but like they're trying to end with this lighter fare, but I'm totally okay with not having these scenes. I really like the action. And also, I want to state that the fighting scenes were also good here, and between Michael and Lark.
I want to see Michael and like Moll just go at it, because you know that's going to be epic. You know that's going to be epic. But as we come to the end of this episode, any final thoughts before we end it?
I wish we had a chance to see how Moll and L'Ak got the puzzle piece on Enterprise. Like, if this season is all about getting these puzzle pieces. and Book and Michael arrived, and Moll and L'Ak already had the puzzle piece. Okay, we could have seen a little flashback for that, but I feel like they just took it from them. But what did they? There's always some sort of lesson when getting the puzzle piece. And so, where was it on the ship? Did they have? How did? I need closure there. I'm not probably not going to get it, but it just feels like it's missing in this arc of an episode. That's my final thought. I need more about the puzzle piece.
Mine is I want to see Book get a reality check. I need him to stop being so emotionally stupid, and just have a reality check. Like, it sucks how much this man is grasping at straws to make things work that are not going to ever work. And I just need him to get a reality check, because she is not your sister. She is not your sister. Stop treating her like that. Because the only thing I can see is that he's going to make a very dumb decision in the future because he refuses to believe she is not his sister. That's my final thought. And Rayner, you're still awesome. Still love you. And the ears. And as always, I'm Andrea.
And I'm Anika.
And live long and prosper.